All right. Hi, Monique. Great
Hi.
to see you. Okay. And let's see if you can do that. And Maria's here. Honey, you can figure this out.
I can. Yeah,
okay, thanks. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm so glad you're here. I know you all. I don't need to introduce myself. I'm Shelby. You're fabulous. Why am I doing this? This is important. Everyone keeps asking me this. Why am I doing this? And I just want to really quickly go over the reason. The reason why is because it totally excites me to see you guys live your dreams and to feel fulfilled and to move forward past a lot of those normal setbacks that we all have. You know, there's really answers to these, so there's solutions, and a lot of people aren't familiar with them. We have Steve is on, Steve Doris is on. He's going to talk for a minute too on what it's done for him. You know, he's got an incredible story, and his life is exciting. He's a very exciting guy. I met him on a singles cruise a few months ago, and I feel so close to him. And he's going to share just a few minutes of what his experience with the book has been as well. But I do want to honor you guys for being open, for wanting more. For believing that there's more info out there, you know, that it is that we don't know it all, because I think so many people they succumb to this belief that there just aren't any answers, you know, and that just is a shitty place to be. You guys are really the 1%ers, you know, the go-getters, the people that are just going to be changing lives out there. We're only going to do one more session of this book because I think we can really get the bullet points in 2 sessions, and this call will be over at exactly 8:35 because our account doesn't allow us any more time than that. so we got to be done by 8:35. We're going to do a new book after New Year's, one that's changed my life, and I'll talk to you about that later. But we'll do next Thursday at 8 o'clock will be the second session of this. And this is the Cliff Notes. This book here is long, and it was made like 100 years ago, so it's in kind of a different verbiage. It took me a long time to get through it. I'm not a quick reader. I want to kind of go through the Cliff Notes so you guys don't have to. We did the audio version as well. It's on our 9daydetox.net personal development link. So you can check that out. Listen to it in the car. Gosh, I listen to this stuff while I'm spinning, while I'm, just working out. I use that kind of time to listen. And we're going to do it in modern language. Don't worry if you haven't watched or listened to if you haven't read the book or listened to the video, we'll be fine with that. Here's the big thoughts that I have on this book. The fact that you want to really manifest this idea that thoughts are things. Thoughts are absolutely things that are vibrational, and they can connect you with what the book always calls the ultimate, it's their word for God, you know. So these thoughts that are in our head, they affect us, they change our vibration, they change our direction, they change our decisions. So being very mindful of our thoughts. In our last little session, I had said that, you know, there's only a few things that we can control: thoughts, reaction, and breath. And the thoughts being the most important, really controlling them almost like is an exercise that you have to come back to changing your thoughts back into a positive direction, because so often, you know, we can go down this rabbit hole. And that's one of the basics of this book, is that your thoughts are very, very important, and thoughts are things. A second big point in this book is your desires. How deep is your desire? I know you all have your own stories, and I want to hear them all. I want to share, just so I can relate to you guys on an example level. I work best with examples. My desire to work on cruise ships was so huge that I found the woman's extension number by calling several times, 20, 30 times. I found her extension number, and I called the woman who was in charge of hiring every week, once a week, with the same little spiel. Hi, I'm Shelby. I'd be great for the job. I think you'd really love me on board. And, you know, she had thousands and thousands of resumes, and I was very qualified for the job, but they just didn't need me. But my persistence, because I desired it so deeply, was just, you can't stop someone that's never going to quit. You can't play with that, right? So finding your desires in life, and everyone's are so different. And I really encourage you guys to take time to write these things down. If you don't know already what your desires are, one of the basic tools that we have is writing things down. And we're going to get to that part in this book. But thoughts are things. You need a deep desire for whatever it is, whether it's something or someone. I've done this when I was trying to get married. I was dating, like it was my second job. I literally listed all the things that I wanted in a guy, what I wanted him to look like. I wanted him to be funny. That was there 3 times funny was on my list, I noticed. That's why I ended up with this one. But there was many things. I wanted him to have a checkered past because I'd had such a hard upbringing. It was not normal. It was like after school special, like where, my mother was running from my father and chasing each other around, screaming and yelling and all sorts of things that I won't get into in case there's family on. But it was quite difficult, and I wanted someone that could really understand that life wasn't that easy. So all of these specifics were on my list, and I was super specific, and you have to be specific. So that's another bullet point on this book, is to write it down, be specific, know what you want, that you have to deeply desire it. One of the mentions that I always feel like I have to reflect on twice is these desires and these thoughts are intangible impulses. The intangible impulse of thought is transmuted into the physical world. And that's really what this book is about, why it was so cutting edge 100 years ago, and it's still real today, that your vibrational level, the thoughts that you have, do have the potential to become physical reality if you can get into your subconscious. That we are very powerful humans. So that's a huge thought process on this book, and it does take reading it to understand why I believe that this is a big point. But that's something we all have to understand, that there's vibrational levels. I wanted to also mention, he mentions the people that he's talked to. This guy, Napoleon Hill, interviewed the greats. And I'm talking about people that are still great today that you know the names of. Thomas Edison, he did great things. Alexander Graham Bell. This is crazy. He interviewed people that still are well known today. Henry Ford, Charles Schwab, still names today. He interviewed about 100 of the most successful people in his day. And I want to also honor the fact that back then it was so hard to be successful. It wasn't like it was today. There weren't a lot of opportunities. You were really pigeonholed. But these people all agreed that this information in the book was sound. And this is why I think it's so important that you guys take this as your base, because it's success leaves clues, and that is it's important that you believe what I'm saying, and it's important that you start to really believe this in your heart. And the way to do that is obviously to read the book or listen to the audio. One of the other things it talks about is faith, connecting with the infinite intelligence. And he has a list of 12 things that make men rich. And I just wanted to hit upon these really quick so we're all on the same wavelength. But number 1 is your positive mental attitude. Now, people can go around and say, you're so positive. Listen, I don't have a lot to be positive about all the time. And I'm not Pollyanna. I'm very realistic, but in a way that is going to set me up for success. And I am trying to look at the positive most of the time. And that's a training. That's an exercise in itself that's been going on for years internally for me. And if you're not already doing that, or if you do that sometimes, know that when you are doing that, that is going to propel you to a more positive place. It is going to propel you to a better area. If you allow people in your life to bring you into that negative circle, or people that tell you, oh, I'm a realist. I always say be careful of the realist, because they're not going anywhere. You have to be someone that is going to be filled with positivity and desire and feelings that are really going to push you forward. You are in control of that, and don't let anyone make you believe differently, because they are there putting you down because they want to make themselves feel better. And I really hope you understand that. If they're not paying your bills, their opinion really doesn't matter. And no one's really ever paid my bills except for my family when I was living with them. So I haven't really cared about many people's opinions as I went on in life. But I think it's an important thought, because I hear this a lot in our business, is like, well, I don't want someone to think I'm like this or like that. You really have to be careful of that. Are they paying your bills? Truly. And that's a very important thought. So, very, very positive mental attitude. And that's the first and foremost. Number two, your health is one of the second most important thing. And it's why I'm so passionate about getting people cleansed and feeling good, because I know for myself, I had half a person when I was exhausted. I could only do half of what I wanted. So taking your health seriously, putting it at the forefront of your priorities is truly important. Harmony in your relationships, you know, even those relationships that you can't get away from. You know, we always have the boyfriend, the girlfriend, the husband, the wife. I know that those are straining relationships, but you have choices on those. You can get out of those. It's hard to get out of relationships with your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, those close ones. Those are really tough. I love Tony Robbins. He says, if someone's putting arsenic in your coffee every day, even if it's by mistake, you need to stay away from that person and not have coffee with them. You know, I have a few family members that they're just poisonous. They just are. And it's not that I don't love them, and I certainly don't want to ex-nay them from my life, but I try very hard to monitor the amount of time that I'll spend with them, or the amount of time I'll allow them to let me listen, because their message is very negative and self-fulfilling. You know, things like, I exchange 4 quarters for $1. The checks are always ahead of the bills. I mean, I'm sure you know people that are like this. They're just that negative talk, and it's so pervasive and repetitive. So be careful and make sure you're honoring your time and spending it with people that are bringing you up and lifting you up. It's very important. Freedom of fear. That's another quality that you need. And freedom from fear, I'm sure you know people, and I don't know all of your secrets out there, but let's assume that some of you are fearful. I know someone very well in my family system that I swear he just can't enjoy life because he is so scared of the future. And it is so sad to me, because he's got everything he really needs. I know that. I know his finances. I know so much about him, but yet he's so scared of what's going to happen, and he can't enjoy the actual time we're here in life. So freedom of fear. And I know I get scared. My gosh, we have so many things we're juggling, Joel and I, with our lifestyles. I live in Florida half the time, here half the time. It's very difficult, and I get scared. And then I think, no, I have to stop that feeling, because that is not going to serve me. Is it going to serve you? Fear will never serve you. So again, it's an exercise. It's a stop that and replace it. And I always try to replace it with the most exciting and loving thoughts that I can remember that will dissipate. You can't be in an exciting place in your mind, or a gracious or gratitude state, and also be scared. So trying to train yourself to go there. He also mentions hope for the future. Hope being so incredibly important. Having hope, honoring hope, having faith. Faith and hope are almost one and the same, almost. Faith is even stronger, of course, than hope. But having that thought, that feeling, that vibrational level that things are possible to get better, even when it looks so gosh darn dismal, that when you do out the math, you can't imagine how that's going to work out. You still have to remain hopeful and faithful that it can work out, because truly nothing is impossible. Nothing. But when we're in those states, it's so easy to believe that it is. And I want you to know and remember that these aren't my thoughts. These are things from someone much smarter and more successful than me. But I know for sure, when I feel hopeless, I'm not going anywhere. And when I feel hopeful, I feel like I could go somewhere. I could get someplace. So just that, that science is pretty easy. Applied faith is very important. We just kind of touched on that. Sharing blessings with others. Sharing is very important, and I love being able to get to that place now. Having a labor of love, finding a job, a work, a thing that you are truly in love with. This is going to change over time. I mean, my love for travel was so incessant when I was younger. Now I have more of a love for working remotely and being with my family. I still like to travel, but not that much. I have a very big labor of love for sharing this kind of stuff with you guys that I care about. So this doesn't feel like work to me at 8 o'clock, even though I have a back issue and a few other issues going on. I'm actually very happy to be here because it's a labor of love. So really trying to identify what those things are in your life, what it is that you love, and don't judge it. I made a list of what I loved, and things like salsa dancing and tennis and, you know, kissing a fluffy doggy were on there. And, you know, you don't have to qualify, you don't have to explain what they are. Just make sure you identify what they are. It will lead you to the right direction of what you want to spend your time doing. Open mind on all subjects. This is one I work on a lot. I came from kind of a judgy family, not all of them, but a few of them. And so that was kind of a part of my emotional makeup. I don't know about you guys, but having an open mind and not being judgmental is so much more fun. It's so much more freeing. It's such a nicer place to be, but it is a difficult place to transition to if you haven't been cultured to be that way. So that's on here. Self-discipline. Some of us have it, some of us don't. Like I said, for myself, it was very critical. So I have self-discipline just because there was someone very critical in my life. But some people don't have it, and you got to get it. So you got to know where your weaknesses is and how to fill that up. Wisdom to understand people. And I know everyone on this call certainly has that. And money is last. What makes men rich? That was the list I just gave you. Money is last. And I think that that's also important to know. But anyway, so those were 12 steps that I wanted to just kind of touch upon. That the Think and Grow Rich, the first one went out. As I told you, writing it down is your best tool. I have just a couple more steps that I wanted to go over, and then I want to bring Steve on. And I know I have 2 more girls that were trying to get on the call. I'll have to double check if they got on yet, but they'd also like to share their experience. And then I'll open it up to questions or just thoughts because I would like this to be a feedback platform. So any thoughts you have on what I said, on what Steve said, on what you read, on what you listened to on the audio, I'd really like that to be a feedback of thought. But this is what we're going to work on this week. So there's 6 steps, and this comes with a PDF. You know what, can you get Christian, because I'd like him to read his statement of desire. It's a statement of desire, and we all have vision boards, and we have a statement of desire, and so Joel and I were doing our statements of desire, and Christian decided to do his, and I thought this would be really inspiring for you guys to see that even children have this innate ability to come up with stuff. But I want to just go over the 6 steps first. So with feeling and belief, and that's important, trying to picture what these things are actually already happened, to assume the feeling, to assume the imagination that these things have already been achieved is really the secret of the successful part of it. It's not just saying the words, although that is important. But here's exactly the 6 steps. And why I love this book so much is because it gives you steps. And I really like steps. I don't like esoteric stuff. I like to write things down. I like to know exactly what the steps are. So with feeling and belief, you say, number 1, the exact amount of money that you desire, the exact amount. Number 2, what will you give to obtain that money? Number 3, a definite date that you will obtain that money. Number 4, a plan of action, whether you're ready or not. And that's very important because people want to wait. They want to get ready to get ready. People spend so much time getting ready to get ready. They don't do jack. I see this all the time. So don't worry if you're not ready. Just go for it. Number 5, write it down. I can't say this enough. Writing down your desires is so important. And number 6 is read it before bed and in the morning when you wake. And there's a lot of science behind getting this into your subconscious mind. My husband Joel has a PDF that actually kind of goes over this, and we'll put it in that thread, but we'll give it to everybody. So Christian, where's Christian?
He's doing his late night.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm going to read my statement of desire, which was $100,000 by January 1st. And this is going to be achieved, which is exciting. I have multiple streams of income. I did this. The reason, what I was going to give back is to teach my friends and family how to live with free from physical and financial pain. In order my plan of action was to have weekly webinars like this, which I've been doing. Also to create more consultants on my team. And is he coming or no? He's not coming? Oh, that's too bad. I really wanted you guys to see. So, that's all right. All right. He's doing his business. He's got a late night poop. That's what we call it in the house.
Yeah.
But anyway, he created his statement of desires too, which was so sweet. I'm going to bring Steve on. Honey, can you help me unmute Steve, please, so I can do this correctly? So, Steve, just give us a little background on your life, on why you're here today, and what the book, anything that comes to mind is very up to you. And I'm so glad to see you.
It's good to see you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Yeah, thanks for having me. Gosh, I don't know where to start. I've been in sales for 26 years. I come from, a good upbringing, but, my parents are, pretty blue collar. So, a lot of that's great. And they're wonderful people and have great lives. There was a part of me that always wanted to, be, more successful. I wanted to, I had, higher financial goals, and I was more ambitious. And, I never knew how to, accomplish those goals. And I think one of the difficulties, that I've always had, and I think is one of the difficult things about this book, if I'm going to say anything negative about it, is that there are so many things that dictate what you can do to be successful, or what constitutes someone that's successful and driven. But it's from my experience, I found that you have to figure that out for yourself. It's really good to to talk to people who are successful in any way, not just financially, but in any way. Tap into those people and and see what does it for them. See what what lights them up. What has them so driven to wake up in the morning without coffee, or hit their quote every month if they're in sales, and or just get that promotion, or get that that job, and see if any of it resonates with you. Because in Think and Grow Rich, there's a pretty thorough section in there about how successful people tap into their sexual desires.
Yes.
To be successful. And I had to read the book like 2 more times to agree with that, because what drives me at work, to be honest with you, the last thing I'm thinking about is my primal desires. I'm very cerebral, very logical, very pretty focused. I mean, there is an element of being passionate and emotional, but it's pretty it's pretty, I don't know, thought out and planned, and unlike that other side of me, which is not that out and planned, and so it's different.
It does. It gives you a higher vibration level, and sexual desire, dancing, singing, all of those. There's actually a whole list of things in there that basically say, if you combine these two, they heighten your vibration level. And I couldn't agree more. I was pretty shocked at reading that part too. If you guys read the book, you'll get to that. I don't know if I go over the audio, but there's a higher vibration. And I think anyone that's ever sang, danced, or had good sex knows that there is a higher, it's a different consciousness. It really is. And that we can tap into this is definitely the truth. So did you, Steve, if I can ask, did you end up, when did you read this book first, and who suggested it to you?
I've read it 3 times. The CEO of the company that I'm working for right now suggested it to me about 2.5 years ago, and I've read it 2 more times since he did suggest it to me. I ordered it on Kindle when he recommended it. I got it for ridiculously cheap, and
it is ridiculously cheap
since then. And it's really, really good. I mean, I particularly like the sections where it discussed traits that successful people have had in common.
Yes.
And I don't agree with all of it. And again, like I said before, you got to figure out what it is that lights you up. That motivates you. And I got to say a quick story about me. I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but a quick story about me. There was a time where I use, because I'm in sales, I use money as a motivator for me. That, okay, let's make as much money as we can. Let's make that quota, because it's all about the number in sales. You make your number, you're a hero. You don't make your number, you're canned. And so let's be all about making the money, being money driven. I've never been a very materialistic person. And this whole thing of going after that dollar became an obsessive thing for me, even though I didn't buy nice things for myself. And I ended up working so hard, I completely burned myself out. And all that work came for nothing, because I gained no satisfaction from it, because that's not what drove me, even though that's what I used to drive me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. So what did you define? What would you define that really drives you? Did you decipher that?
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm kind of still figuring that out. But I took some time off. I took a few years off, and I played poker for a living for 4 years, and did really well at that. Too bad they made it illegal to play in the United States. You'd probably still be doing it. But I took some time off, and I enjoyed doing that. But I thought about it. I did a lot of soul searching, and I thought about things that are a little more substantial to me. Like it's become really important to me that I leave a legacy behind me. That I inspire other people, and that things that I do impact people, and they take that they take those lessons and impact other people, or just become the kind of person that would want to impact other people, and so on and so on. And just I'm. In theory, it could create a ripple effect that could go on for centuries, eons. That I could live on. I mean, nobody's going to remember who Steve Medeiros is, 10,000 years from now. But maybe something I do, and this might sound a little arrogant, but maybe something I do will have an impact on the world.
Yeah, I don't think it sounds arrogant at all. I think we should all want to make an impact on the world, and if we don't, we should look a little deeper, because I do feel like that's kind of innate inside of us, that we want to help, we want to leave something that's pure, that people will gain some positivity from. Thank you so much, Steve, for being on with us. I want to just make sure we're staying on track. We got 5 minutes left. It's going to shut off. The things that I would suggest, I invite you to do, I certainly am not telling you to do this. I want for you whatever you want for yourself. I just want you to be more, give more, feel more. But what we are going to invite you to do is really put down that exact amount of money, what you'll give, the definite date, the definite plan of action, write it out, read it before bed, and we're going to send that PDF so you can, use it on your own. The other thing I just wanted to mention that I've been using, and there's a topic in here about self-confidence, and my son is here waiting to say a statement of desire, so we have to give a minute for that. Self-confidence is so important when we're doing anything in life. I know that we talk so bad to ourselves. We say so many things that are just not self-serving, like, oh, I'm an idiot. How could I do that? I'm so stupid. I don't look right. I don't this right. We have this negative self-talk, and I know I'm not the only one. We have to retrain that, is you're listening to yourself more than anyone else. So whatever you're saying up here, when you catch yourself saying anything that isn't positive, I really invite you to retrain that. I am statements, I've talked about this before, but I say these very regularly, so that when I find myself saying negative talk, I go into my rituals, I guess now. I am unstoppable. I am loving. I am kind. I am meant for great things. I am living in luxury. I'm living with my family. Whatever, all these great things, and yours are going to be different, of course. And you can even look on YouTube. There's a lot of I am statements that are great. But this self-confidence is what I want to talk about next week and tap into. And definitely this week, though, if you want to join us on this journey, let's write out those statements of desire. And I'll leave you with Christian's statement of desire, which is very exciting, and I think it will inspire you. If he can do it, you can do it. So go ahead, Christian, you little elf, you got the floor.
Exact amount of money that I desire is $100,000 a month. If I intend to have this by June 29, 2030.
2030.
My plan of action is to use my birthday money and sell my silver coins to go to McGill, and I'm going to make a side job of video gaming. And then I'm going to go to law school and be a lawyer and make lots of money.
Hands up. All right. So,
Desire to get a mansion by the beach. That's my other one.
yeah, desire to get a mansion by the beach also is his other one. Cute to see the way his voice is on camera. He says it so much more confidently when he's in front of us. But that was great, honey.
Good work, bud.
Good job.
And then here's the
So
paper.
so he has this paper and he's really been reading it every morning and every night, and we check it off and he's beating us.
I haven't missed a single
He hasn't missed a single day. And there's a lot of science behind this, that the vibrations of these thoughts, these words, are going into subconscious, and then they manifest themselves into reality. So don't be scared that it won't come true. Joel actually had just kind of shared with me right before the call that he's like, his date was also January 1st, and he doesn't think he'll obtain what he had already chosen as his statement of desire a few months back. And my answer to him was that what I think the author of this book would basically say is that the belief is so important. Just stop not believing. Don't worry about the date. If you get into that state of belief, things change inside of you, and when things change inside of you, they affect the ripple effect outside of the universe is affected. So stop playing small and being afraid that you're not going to obtain that goal in a certain amount of time. If you truly believe, then if it happens a month later or 2 months later, it doesn't matter. Time's pretty irrelevant. But you really have to, you can't be scared of not achieving it. You have to go forward and just concentrate on it and write these things down. Write your goals down. Write your desires down, what you really want to do with your life. If it's playing with your kids more, if it's working remotely more, identify these things. If it's, you want to get in better health, or you want to make yourself your focus, there's numerous ones. I mean, countless things that I know you guys are all going through personally, but whatever it is, identify what you really feel in your heart would make you feel happy. Write it down and commit that stuff to memory every day, every night. That's basically what this book is saying. So next week I want to work on the self-confidence aspect of things and faith. So that's what we'll do, and then we'll be done for the year, and we'll work on something else next year. If you guys want to, let me know. Tell me, anybody have any thoughts, questions? We've got 4 minutes, so is anybody? I'll unmute you guys and just tell me if you have any thoughts, questions. Let me know now because we have time for that.
Mm-hmm.
Honey,
Maria chatted. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we unmute everybody?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I have my IT professional here. That I married a computer doctor. It's way better than a real doctor because I don't want to go see a real doctor. So what do we have? Any thoughts? Just shout it out and we'll Maria, okay. Maria, talk to me about this. Very similar to Abraham Hicks, Ask and Achieve. Go ahead.
No, just pretty much it. Very positive. There was one, I can't remember if it was Abraham Hicks, where they said you kind of play a game where you go on your computer and you have this imaginary checkbook that you have all this money, and each day you spend that money on something, like doing something for someone, and then for each day the pot gets more and more, and you just find yourself with, you have to think of things that you're going to spend the money on.
That's great.
And it's supposed to be both opening yourself up to wealth as well as sharing.
Yes, yes. I love it. Anyone else? We've got another minute. Anybody else want to add anything? Thoughts, questions, anything? I mean, I want this to be open. That's it? No one else has any thoughts, feelings, questions? Who's going to be doing this with us? Who's going to do the statement of desires? Who feels like committing to that? Yeah? Okay, great. Diana, Monique, awesome. The statement of desires. I love it.
Hey, Mommy.
Yeah? Okay. That's great. Now, Diana actually did get on board and listened to the audio as well, which is so cool. Diana's very young. She's like 20. I mean, the world's her oyster.
Oh, what a smart person to start now.
I know.
Yeah.
It's so true. Well, it is so great to have so many beautiful faces here. I got to tell you, I care about each and every one of you. I really, truly do. And all I want is for people to feel like their lives are exciting and what they want them to be, fulfilled. I know, I'm less than 1 minute. So I will sign off. I'm so happy to see you guys. We'll do next week. We'll do self-confidence, faith, and probably one more little thing. Thank you so much, Steve, for joining us. Thank you, Maria, for giving us some feedback. I love you guys. Bye, Monique. Bye, Diane. Linda, see you soon.
Bye. Feel better, Shelby.
I know, I just don't move. I'm fine. Hey, Marcy, thank you so much for being here. Great to have you guys.